What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. We just got some exciting news for any of my Season of Discovery players out there, and we're going to dive right into it now. So we've got a lot of news and data mines coming out since the PTR went live, and I figured the first thing we got to start with here is the speculation that we all had about the Scarlet Dungeon or Raid was pretty accurate from the beginning. We are going to be getting the Scarlet Enclave or something similar in name. Remember, these are data mines, so things are subject to change here. But the most important part of all of this that I want to show you guys is that right here we have the Scarlet Enclave type Raid. And then we have Karazhan Crypts, and the type is Dungeon. So, what this most likely means, and remember, everything can change, this is just data mine stuff from the PTR, this most likely means that the Scarlet instance content may be a raid. It could be a 10-player raid, 20-player raid, flex raid, we don't know. All we know is that the type is labeled as raid. And then for Karazhan Crypts, it's labeled as a dungeon. And then if we scroll down a little bit further here in this data mine, we have the dungeon encounters, right? So I'm assuming that these are bosses inside Karazhan Crypts. We have the Harbinger of Sin, Criminal, Opera of Malediction, Dark Rider, Creeping Malison, and Charon. So these look like they're going to be bosses within inside the Karazhan Crypts dungeon. So we have, yet to see. We don't see any names for anything inside raid encounters. We don't have a raid encounter section yet. We may get that soon, though. But moving on to the next thing I want to talk about is some new Argent Dawn reputation trinkets that we got here, which will grant you the Seal of Dawn buff, which says unlocks your potential while inside Naxxramas, increasing your damage by 2% for each piece of sanctified armor. So that's going to be a nice buff that we're going to be stacking up inside Nax to do a little bit more damage, which is going to be pretty cool. And then obviously you have variants for other specs as well. Like this one is increase your threat caused by 1% and health by 1 for each piece of sanctified armor equipped. And then this one is healing and shielding by 2%. So for the most part, every class and spec in the game will be able to benefit from this, obviously. And then we have some new shoulder enchants. Now here, these are a lot, so I won't go through all of them, but I just want to make sure everyone realizes these are not runes, as stated here by Zyrene. These are consumables, enchants that you're going to put on your shoulder for a permanent enchant, and it stacks with shoulder enchants like ZG, ST, Saffron, and have no duration / don't expire. So that's pretty interesting. So these are just going to be like some extra enchants to put on your shoulders, and it's not really stats. They kind of are acting as runes. Like this one for druids, you may cast Rebirth and Innervate while in bear form. The cooldown of Mangle is reduced by 1.5 seconds. If we come down here to warrior, which is what I was looking at before, there's a ton of them. I'll link this down in the description below. We have some pretty cool ones here. Let me see. This one is really nice. Soul of the Battle Forecaster gives you a different, enchant depending on what stance you're in. For Battle and Gladiator stance, you get 10% damage done. Berserker stance, you get an extra 10% increased chance to critically hit, which is massive. We have some other cool ones too. We have Heroic Strike, Slam, and Overpower deal 25% more damage. Slam hits reset the cooldown on Mortal Strike, Bloodthirst, and Shield Slam. So some really cool things that are going to kind of change the way that you play your character a little bit. So these are definitely more of runes in my opinion, but they are going to function as enchants, right? They're not going to give you straight up stats. They're going to basically be giving you what a rune would give you, some kind of effect or spell or something along those lines. And then next I want to go over the Atiesh variants that we've gotten data mined so far for Season of Discovery. These are the 4 variants right here. As you can see, they're just way stronger than their counterparts from Classic, which I will link this also down in the description below. But we can go over these really, really quick. So it looks like this top left one would be more geared towards Warlocks. We have 2% crit, 150 spell damage, 33% spell damage buff for the entire party. And then obviously the portal to Karazhan. And then the next one would be the Priest one over here to the top right. That's going to give you healing by 62. It's going to increase healing for the entire party that the priest is in by 62 and 19 spell damage. And then for the priest themselves that's wearing the staff, they're going to get 300 100 extra healing and 150 spell damage on that one. And then I think the bottom left one, yep, this is Mage. We have a 2% hit, 150 spell damage, and an equip effect that increases spell casting speed of all party members within 30 yards by 2%. So the Mage's group is going to get that 2% extra spell casting speed. And then the Druid one here, we have increase the spell critical strike chance of all party members within 30 yards by 2%, increase healing by 300, gives you 592 attack power in cat and bear forms, which is absolutely massive, up from the 420 that the original gave you. So these new variations of Atiash looking pretty damn good. Love the addition of the Mage one, where the entire party is getting that 2% spell casting speed. They're just looking really good and really strong. So moving on to the next thing I want to talk about, we have 4 new mounts that have been data mined, which are Reigns of War, Reigns of Conquest, Reigns of Death, and Reigns of Famine. And they look like they're representing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse with inside, Nax Ramis. So I'm assuming these mounts are going to drop from inside there, or maybe there's going to be some event or some farm that you're going to be able to do to earn one of these mounts. They look pretty damn cool. I think my favorite one out of all these is the white one. I think that's pretty awesome. I would definitely be rocking that. And then moving on to the last thing I want to talk to you about. This is a massive page of all the class and spell changes, but I just wanted to go over some of the standout gear set bonuses that I really liked. Let's go down to Warrior, because as we know, Warrior is my favorite. We're coming down here. I don't know if anyone has seen any of this stuff yet, but if you haven't, some of it is really good. Like the 2-piece damage set for Warrior increases the damage done by deep wounds by 20%, which is going to be huge. Then the 4-piece reduces the cooldown on your Bloodthirst, Mortal Strike, and Shield Slam by 25%. And the 6-piece is your melee critical strikes against undead enemies grant you 1% increased damage done to undead for 30 seconds, stacking up to 25 times. So basically, 25% damage bonus against all undead pretty much at all times, because you're going to be critting nonstop, especially coupled with like the shoulder enchant that we were looking at before. This is going to be some pretty crazy stuff, but again, I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long for you guys, so I will just link this down in the description below if you want to check out any of the set bonuses for your class, or any changes to spells and things like that. But anyway, that's pretty much everything we got today. That's a lot of stuff. There's still more stuff coming out. The PTR just came out, so I'm sure we're going to get more stuff coming. I will do my best to keep you guys informed. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with somebody, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to hang out with me live, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerdance, link in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.